Nate Illumination here, Macy here. Everything that you've been through is really allowing you to experience this new beginning in the fullest way possible. It's allowing you literally everything you've ever been through in your life, especially in the last 5 to 10 years. I mean, really, let's not even compare it. Everything you've been through in your life has prepared you to hold and to cherish what's coming in. And by no means is it going to be easy. By no means is it always going to be like a blissful experience. I feel like if you're seeing this message, my intention is to truly have this message reach whoever it needs to when it needs to, and to protect this message for who it's not meant for yet at this time. God is so good. The universe, Allah, Buddha, El Shaddai, whatever you associate divine energy with, is so good, because the pain and hardship that you've gone through it's almost as if what you're about to receive, or what you're beginning to receive in this new beginning, wouldn't have been good. And that's not what I meant to say. Wouldn't have been as magical to experience had you not had this pain. And I feel like if you're watching this, you've begun to come to an understanding that just because you experienced pain prior to this new beginning, and I'm also hearing prior awakenings and new beginnings and truly divine experiences, like I feel like if you're watching this video of me with fabulously greasy hair and Vicks on my nose, a video that I was not expecting to make today, that you know and are beginning to navigate and learn and remember that good things don't always have to come from pain. It just, in this situation, in this current one, is making what's coming in so much sweeter. That's the word. So much sweeter. Because you've moved through so much heartbreak and so much isolation and abandonment, whatever that looks like for you, whatever that was for you, whatever you may still be moving through. The thing is I feel like, I feel like I keep hearing being the change you wish to see in the world, and being the pattern breaker, and being it's so much more than that. I feel like when I hear that, also please use your own discernment, because this is going to look and feel and be different for each and every person, but what I keep hearing is love them anyway. And I feel like it wasn't until recently, even though you've probably heard it and meditated on it and had affirmations or whatever it is, it's like you're truly feeling it and living it now. And I feel like you may not have been able to do so up until this point because the love within yourself hadn't been fostered to a certain point to where you could hold love and space for others at such a capacity. And now I feel like your self-love, granted, nothing's perfect. It's almost as if the self-love isn't like, it's an unconditional love, meaning even when you make a mistake, even when you go through hard things and heavy emotions, that you love yourself in this unconditional way, where you're beginning to notice if there's an inner critic that isn't necessarily something that's supportive to you, and you catch it more often, and you also kind of just allow it to just like come on through and then come on out, because I feel like if you're watching this, you're beginning to understand that those thoughts aren't you, and that you are observing these thoughts, and that the soul within your human body is who you are, not the thoughts that move through the body and through the brain and through the neurological pathways. Yeah, it was in choosing yourself and knowing that it isn't just black and white. It's that learning how to let go doesn't always look the same for everyone, and learning how to let go isn't always a goodbye forever, and sometimes it is. The thing is that we always have the choice. We always have the choice to change our mind or to hold strong in our decision. And the thing is that's not even the only two options. It's like this interweaving, ever evolving, malleable experience that life is when it comes to unconditionally loving ourselves and in turn others. And something that I would say to myself every night would be, I choose acceptance of myself and in turn others. And it's only, my body has caught up to that understanding where I feel like it's I feel like there's so much coming through that I'm just feelings are moving through of this unconditional love of the self has really allowed you and is allowing you to navigate some really heavy decisions that aren't feeling as heavy anymore. Like something that literally was eating you up like a week ago is something that I feel like you faced in a way that you didn't think was going to happen, and that you can continue to be malleable in this situation. I'm hearing like that, yeah, that letting go doesn't always have to look like what it looks like for everyone else, as well as knowing that this new beginning is asking you to let go of so much and to be open and honest in a very vulnerable way that may not please others. And you know that in making this decision, it might even hurt others. Again, please use your discernment with this message. Where this unconditional love is really allowing you to choose yourself first, and it may not immediately hit on the returning end when it comes to letting people go. But I'm hearing that whether it's in this lifetime or the next, that the returning party or the receiving end of this letting go or lack thereof receiving, it's like that energy has been completely cut off and not entertained anymore. They're going to eventually understand that the decision you made helped both of you. And that this decision can grow and change and evolve like a vine growing up a house that gets trimmed every once in a while. I feel like this is a trimming. And that also some parts of the vines are dying and just letting it. I remember when my favorite plant, when some of its leaves started dying and falling off, and I was a new plant mama, so I had no idea what was happening. I was like, what have I done? Am I not taking care of this plant? Confirmation burp. Am I not taking care of this plant? Like, what's wrong with me? And I feel like this is so congruent. This is so much like this is such a good analogy for some of the relationships that just end up dying it off, and you prune those parts of the plant that is your life. And sometimes a completely new part of the plant begins to grow separate from the original. That whether that means it's through completely new vibe, tribe, family energy that's not necessarily related to you by blood, yet there's this deep connection that that is deeper than that. And or this new growth could be the new version of what this relationship is in time. And again, I'm also hearing the pace and timeline in which this happens is going to be completely different for each person. So when I say letting go, that could be like letting go of a lot of physical things. That could be letting go of a relationship. That could be distancing yourself from a family member. And the way in which you choose to do that is going to look different for each person. So when I send these messages out, it's with the intention that you not only use your discretion, but you channel your own intuitive, your own intuition. And that in a week, if it doesn't vibe with you anymore, then fine. Like, there's been a decision that I've had to make. Distancing myself from a family member, and I have realized how to use my discernment in this situation where we're sitting in the uncomfortability of actually feeling how that person chose to treat me, and then allowing myself to distance myself from them and to be forgiving with myself, because there were times that I still allowed them to be in my space, and to it's like some of it doesn't even make sense to me, because there was a part of me that was like, I need to completely just like cut this person off now. And then another part of me that was like, and all of these parts not as fragmented anymore, where I was like, well, if I do this, then like my safety and my security, my false sense of safety, my false sense of security gets pulled out from underneath me. And it was in moving through all of those scenarios that I've come to the conclusion that either decision is not the wrong decision, and either decision is not the right decision. That it's how I choose to navigate this that is my own. And that it's like just as uncomfortable as it is rewarding, because I know that very soon I'm not going to be here anymore, and that I've chosen to take steps to remove myself from this situation. And the sheer just want and need to remove myself became so strong that I was acting on sheer emotion when I initially chose to make this decision. And I know that I'm still making that decision. It's just when I choose to do it. And it's very interesting because I feel like it's almost strategic at this point, but not in a way of playing a game, but just knowing that I can choose love, and I can choose to do this in a loving way. And also tell them how they made me feel and how much it hurt. And that in this last month of me being here in this environment, that I've looked back on the last couple years of me being here and realized that it was meant to happen, and realized that there were really heavy emotions that I needed to move through and talk about and express and hear about from others in the situation and see it from their perspective. And that was something I would never change for the world. And so I feel like all of this, again, has really allowed you to hold the sweetness of what is here for you with such wholesomeness, with such clarity, with such... It reminds me, has anyone seen Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. Season 2, Episode 10? I will never forget it. When Skye holds the obelisk for the first time, and she was scared shitless because literally everyone before her had perished and died by holding it, and she was actually forced to hold it. And it metamorphosized her. It transformed her. It up-leveled her in a way where it brought her true power, or she was met with it, because nothing really brought it to her. It was always within her. And that's what I feel like this new beginning is that you've gone through all of this so that you could hold the obelisk and not perish. So that you could hold the sweetness of this new beginning and actually be transformed by it. And actually up-level by it. And I feel like you're beginning to, even in these last few weeks, and I feel like this probably isn't your first awakening, this isn't your first rodeo with moving into this 5D energy. And I don't even want to say 5D because it feels so much more than that. It feels interdimensional. And yeah, there's so much coming through. Where yeah, Spirit just like wants me to sit with that so that you can sit with that too. Taking a few deep breaths to like really integrate that into the body, from the mind and down into the body, into the root chakra. That this is not your first experience moving through this, but it feels new because every single one does feel new. And you know from last time, and even looking back throughout your life, that these upgrades almost feel as if you're taking 5 steps back before you literally launch into space. And I heard this analogy from another video, that it's like the slingshot theory, where like you need to be pulled back and stretched so thin, and then all of a sudden you're launched. And this reminds me of a dream that I had a while back, where I walked outside and there was someone there to take me home, and when I was walking towards them, I initially thought, take me home like physically somewhere here on earth. They're just going to drive me home. They look like a bus driver, like a very almost like Bruce Almighty God, nonchalant janitor vibe. Okay, not saying that there's anything, you already know. And instead, they had a wagon, and my first intuitive, like I was pulled to get in the wagon, and all of a sudden that person that was to take me home launched me from the wagon up into space at like light speed. And I reached the end of the atmosphere of Earth and began to feel myself going into space, and I was scared, and so I like held on somehow to the space in between, I believe, the metasphere, where the Earth's atmosphere meets space. And I feel if you're watching this and you know the correct term for that, feel free to share that with us below, if that is in case. I mean, I feel like I've looked into this before. Regardless, the mind just wants to put words to so much. It almost turned like cartoony for a second, where I could just feel myself like moving in between both. Yeah. Where I wasn't quite maybe ready or willing to be in that energy. Yeah. I feel like this slingshot new beginning is because now you're ready. And it's almost as if like there have been attempts to fast forward this process. And again, everyone's pace is going to be different. This pain, sorrow, grief, glimmers of happiness and bliss throughout, like truly wonderful moments, magical, divine, synchronous moments throughout all of this darkness, is literally happening in its divine timing just for you. And that Just because I'm going through a new beginning right now doesn't mean that you're meant to right now. That you could be watching this in 3 months from now and could be going through this, or you could be watching this 2 years from now and be going through this. In 2027, I'm hearing a lot about 2028. This collective is growing, so there's something about 2028, and the more that comes in, the more I will share. But there is something... Yeah, I'm getting chills, yeah. I've been feeling this for quite some time. It reminds me of the first time I had an intuitive pull in regards to my Saturn return before I knew what a Saturn return was, and I kept hearing the number 28, 28, 28, and then it was 28 years, 28 years, 28 years, and then it turned into one of the planetary rulers of Aquarius is Saturn, 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 and then it all just started to connect in such a beautiful way, and I realized, holy, I'm in my Saturn return, and there's just something about 2028. And I'm trying to think, for me, I believe that'll be the first year that I'm living in my third eye phase for the first time. Again, I know I keep talking about making this this chakra video. Yeah, I need to write. I sometimes it's almost as if like I have so many things written down in such scattered areas, and it's almost as if like it's not meant to be organized, because then if it was organized, that it would just like I just be like assembly lining this information, and I don't feel like it's meant to be that way. I literally feel like I'm meant to like find something I wrote down like 5 months ago and like actually deliver it because I saw it again. That's just how I experience the universe and divine timing and just the beauty of it. Like, I'm gonna get emotional because it's a Pisces moon, and maybe still, I don't know, is it? I feel like my earlier cry sesh was definitely some Piscean energy. Yeah, the moon just moved into Pisces not that long ago. And I'm feeling such ancient energy, in such a magical way that, it's kind of all encompassing, as you can clearly see. So throughout this message, I just want to take deep breaths. What's been coming to me as well, yeah, the universe wants me to talk about this. I was going to put this in a podcast, and it's almost as if like, as much as I've been wanting to post on my podcast, I feel as if what I really want to do right now, at least just right now, is continue these channeled messages. Not something that I was planning on doing. Initially, I had like this plan in my mind that like I was going to have this podcast, and I made a cover for it, and just it was all pretty and like done in a box in a way where it wasn't necessarily supposed to be. But I feel like this is such a flow of consciousness to where I'll just write a few things down, and I'm not even reading from anything right now. What I initially started with is something that just came to me not that long ago, within the hour, and I feel like it's leading me to talk about so much that at first I was like, okay, I'm going to dedicate like this one episode of my podcast to it. But the thing is that not a lot of people are watching my podcast, and that's okay. I just know that the messages that I'm being called to share, Spirit is like, you need to share it here and not on your podcast. And there's a reason for that, and I don't even fully know why. I just have a feeling that a lot more people are going to see it, and that it's not about my ego wanting more people to listen to my podcast, and more so focusing on what actually feels right to me. And my heart is like, this is it. So moving into, I feel like this message that will just tie right into everything, because it always seems to, in such a beautiful way. I have been wanting to share this message, and maybe there's a reason why I'm sharing it now that maybe more people are ready to hear it. That it is quite literally staring at me in the face right now. I've been wanting to talk about not just this topic, but many topics from my favorite show, one of my favorite animated shows, Futurama. Oh, yeah. I'm already feeling that energy. Let's go. Yeah, this video is already 30 minutes, so just strap on in, because this is about to get interdimensional. And, and I will be getting into, you know what? Maybe that'll come to today. So, what is the name of the episode? It's the 5D whale, the interdimensional whale that Leela is chasing. I feel like, if I can recall, this is really testing me, where they stumble upon the whale first. And I want to say, correct me if I'm wrong, y'all. I want to say it's the episode where, is it? This is like my, I gotta get this right, but I don't even need to mention that right now. But yeah, she's chasing this fifth dimensional whale, and they're in 5D space, moving in and out of it. And Leela is on this hunt and has taken literally everyone on the ship and the crew with her, whether they wanted to or not, against their will, basically, to hunt down this fifth dimensional whale. And I have never read Moby Dick. It is definitely something that I have been wanting to read, and maybe I'll get this book when I have a lot more time on my hands, because I will not be having a TV very soon. And will definitely be away from a lot of people and technology. Because I know that it's a correlation, that it is an analogy for the story of Moby Dick. And I know that there are so many different interpretations of that. And I truly, literally, each person who has come to a specific truth about the story is right, is true. It's their truth. That's what's beautiful about living on Earth, is that multiple truths can exist at one time, and multiple realities can exist at one time, and that they will merge together when they're meant to. That's what I feel like is so beautiful about the story of Moby Dick, because when I saw this episode, and literally I have rewatched Futurama more than most, a lot, except for the last season, the newer season, which would be a good rewatch. It's so interesting and beautiful that these stories literally have a new meaning every single time you watch them, and with new eyes. We're constantly evolving and growing, and new neural pathways are connecting all at once. So yeah, as I'm tapping into this 5D energy, it's just going in so many different directions. So the fifth dimensional whale. So she's on this chase, and the thing is that it's a never-ending chase, and that it has to be let go at some point. If y'all have seen the movie Soul, where the soul is shown, the lost souls, that they're these shadows or shells of a person that at some point within their journey have gotten lost in some way, shape, or form. And there's one in specific that just, I that stayed with me in such a way, with such a message that came through, is the lost soul that was continuously searching and literally like running and pacing back and forth, continuously trying to find something that they're never going to find. And I feel like this is such a mirror to the story of Moby Dick, where it's this endless forever chase. And I feel like if anyone's gone through an awakening, or maybe this is your first one, where at first, and I'm speaking from my own experience here, where at first there was just this divine experience, like truly so many, to where it came to like this peak experience. And I feel like if you're seeing this, you know what experience I'm talking about. A divine experience that like that words can't even describe in a lot of ways. And one that I feel like you felt coming, and then when you experienced it, it was almost as if there was this period of time where that's like all you wanted to experience, and that there also came a time where you recognized and realized that it was always within you, and that you don't have to chase it, and to also allow other emotions to move through and thoughts to move through, because the true experience of that divine energy and divine experience only comes when it's all let go of, when there's no commitment to a specific outcome, when you're no longer chasing that feeling again, and you are just here, and you're just here. And I feel like the chase of the whale in Moby Dick, the chase of the fifth dimensional whale, specifically in the message that Futurama gave, is that chasing 5D energy doesn't get you any closer to it. It's in surrendering to even just saying, hey, maybe I'll never have an experience like that again, and being so grateful that you had it. And that just from that experience, you can choose how to reflect that back to others in your life, and live by example, like live from that energy, just that one core experience. Because I guarantee if you had more than one, if you had one a year, if you had one a week, it wouldn't be as sweet. Just like this new beginning that's happening, it wouldn't feel as sweet had you not moved through some heavy shit, okay? So that's the fifth dimensional whale message, is that chasing it is going to make you miserable. Chasing it makes it seem as if that energy is outside of you. Chasing it is saying that it doesn't live within you already, that it's somewhere else, that it's always unreachable, but it's not. Stop chasing. Stop trying to be perfect, because divine energy is not perfect. It's not. In the experience that I had, yes, there was divine, perfect things happening, as well as imperfect things. And that's all I'll kind of say, because sometimes these experiences are really just meant to be between you and the universe. But it was such a symmetry between the two. In such a marriage between space and here on earth, and that they're not separated, that they're just dancing intertwined with one another. And I feel like if you're watching this, you're beginning to come to a point where, or already have, or moving through, just like being okay with just being weird, not having everything be perfect, because that is a forever chase. Nothing's ever going to be perfect. And in surrendering to that, that is when divine energy can flow and move through you and be expressed through you. Oi! Videos to come. The journey through the chakras, the 7-year phases. Whenever that's meant to come. And also, how long has it been? Do I want to talk about it? I feel like there's so much already coming through. Is this something to talk about right now? In time. I feel like you've stopped the chase because you realize that you are the creator of this 5th dimensional energy and it lives within you. Yeah. Just like DMT is already in our spines. Okay? It's already in us. This 5D energy is already within us, y'all. Continue to tap into it. Continue to accept your limitations. Not so easy, I know, easier said than done. And continue to ask for guidance. Continue to talk with your ancestors and your guides and your angels and divine spirit. And I know that if you're hearing this, the decision has already been made. That the moment that the decision of not allowing a specific energy to take any more of your energy is the moment that the divine swoops on up and is like, I've been waiting for you. And just like that. It's okay to feel hard things and move through heavy things. It doesn't mean that the divine isn't with you. It's still in you. It's still with you. It always will be. It always will be. And that the final stretch, the last few weeks, the last few months, even the last year, sometimes is the hardest right before the new beginning. So just know, I know you're seeing glimmers and feeling trickles of this energy, of this new beginning, if it hasn't already come to you. And continue to honor your timeline, continue to honor it, and continue to move at the pace that you feel called to, as well as notice when it's being used as an excuse, quite literally. And I know that's hard to hear because, like, there are days when I'm like, am I using that as... And then really days where I'm just like, no, I really need to slow down. And a lot of the time, my body will just tell me. And if you are synced up with the moon cycles, that will also tell you. It just will. So with this final stretch, I feel like you've come to a point where you've experienced this prior and you know that the light is at the end of the tunnel and you see it regardless of how slow you may be moving towards it. And you could also be moving towards it quite quickly. And when this energy shifts, especially in physical form, there may or may not just be this old paradigm, this old karmic energy that you no longer are energetically attached to, and physically things may or may not still want to attach themselves. And it's going to be, I'm not going to say it's going to be easy, but it has become more able to be navigated truly because you energetically are just done with it. Confirmation burp. And that this last stretch is like, is this knowing that no matter what comes your way, no matter what opinions, situations, confrontations come your way, not to expect them, because sometimes the universe can surprise us and like, but it's like whatever obstacles that used to seem like obstacles just aren't anymore. And that energetically you're able to just like weave through this, like the dream weaver that you are. Definitely getting like spider energy here. Yeah, so just know that the fifth dimensional whale is you, my love, you beautiful, magical being, as I see 1212. So with that, I will close out this message by saying thank you so much for being here. Thank you for supporting my channel as well as supporting yourself. Thank you for just, wow, like you've come so far. You are worth it. You are enough. I love you so much, and I'm rooting for you, and I'm just sending you so much love. I love y'all. Until next time.